I'm Louise.
Good
Really,
glorious morning.
really nice to see you today. Um, we connected briefly on Zoom so we can share with the people following SUUNA what we are planning for the following masterclass series called Let's Talk About Sex. So, if you can, please share a couple of words about yourself and these exciting events. I mean, for me, they're very exciting.
Thank you, thank you. They're very exciting for me too. It's so my jam. So I'm Melissa Louise. I'm your absolute pleasure advocate. And the reason that I have a life where I walk advocating for pleasure is it's actually around our health. It's the most integral part of our well-being and our wealth. And our wealth is not just talking about monetary value, but the wealth of our life. It's also, to me, it's a bit of a political statement in a way. Well, not a political statement in a way. It is a political agenda to make sure that we as humans, in our most exquisite experience in our human body, is separate from what keeps us well, which is pleasure because of the whole, the hormonal cocktail, etc. So for me, pleasure is at the core of our revolution. It is at the core of how we operate in our families, in our relationships, and in our life. And it's a very inaugural part of how we live our life. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
What I've learned recently in my life was that also pleasure and the amount of pleasure we allow ourselves to connect with is somehow, I don't have the explanation for this, maybe you do, is directly correlated with the amount of money that can circulate through our lives. Why are
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So if we think of pleasure and if we think of sex, so often too when we think of pleasure, we're talking about sex for many people. But it's creative energy. And our current system, the creative energy in our current system is money. That it's what is, it's what represents creation. Is like when you have money, you can create more. So we're looking at the mirroring effect of two different energies. So we also, magnetism, money's around magnetism as well. We magnetize opportunities to ourselves. So pleasure and sexuality, this goes so deeply into what our bodies are made up of water as well. When we think of the brain and the heart and everything that's, within our fluids of our body, where we have pleasure, we create, there's a five sense reality around this. We create what we want, we see what we want, we know what it feels like. So therefore, the only thing is that it can come towards you. And that comes from the foundation of pleasure and sex. So when we think of sex magic, it's not this voodoo thing that you're placing a spell onto someone. You are creating the magic in your body of what you want. And the only thing that can happen is it comes to you. So it's just creative energy. I was just saying before, it's like if you're not going to create a human, create your life. It's, my favorite saying to men is your ejaculate is not fucking waste product. Stop throwing it down the bin. Stop being ashamed of, like, in this thing. If we think of the opposite, the contraction, it's like, oh my God, it's like, we chuck it away and it's dangerous. It can create, it might make my partner pregnant. It's also just a lack of education as being responsible for it. But the ability to respond appropriately is to use this elixir. It's like it's liquid fucking gold
yeah.
and it will create your life. So it's this beautiful dance between creation and pleasure and what you want. And yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah. And the exciting part is that we're not we some people or the society teaches us that we should chase an orgasm. This is the end goal. And in my experience, there is so much pleasure before experiencing an orgasm, and if you prolong the states that you reach when you get an orgasm, so why not access that pleasure? So we have a three-part series, and I would invite you to speak briefly about every event from these three
Yeah,
parts.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just to connect it with what we've been doing so far on SUUNA, We had two amazing events featured about that were about the women's cycle, the conscious menstruation, and also one about menopause. And this was for women, but me as a man, I'm also interested on what happens with my partner and how I can support her, or what kind of activities we can do in different stages of her cycle. So please, your
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, the name of this the workshop that I'm doing is called She the Oracle. And two, I want to really change our wording around the experience of women in their bodies. And, you know, menopause is a form of control. Like, we're not here to put men on pause. It's actually regenopause. So when we're looking for my work around this subject, working with couples and where men are in heterosexual relationships, we are often taught that the female cycle is this problem to fix. Yet it is so powerful, and we are governed by the moon, and we have a different arena of cycle than what the man goes through. So in a relationship, when you put the sun cycle and the moon cycle over top, we learn how to work with those. So a woman's truth is felt in her body, and her menstruation cycle is a huge part of the power of that. So when we're looking in relationship, you get to track and use and harness the energy of the female cycle for your intimate relationship, for your business, for you know, even if we're gonna, it's not separate, but even your sexual relationship. So when a man understands where his woman's at, he can have his sexual needs met, and also grow and expand more and have more of his desires met, and the co-creation of desires. So the female cycle is not something to be shoved in the corner and controlled, and just like, it's not problematic. It's problematic in our current cultural narrative because it needs to be controlled because it's a money-making business. Yet the female in her menstrual cycle is so powerful. We are the oracle. We are the seers. And she's of service. The female cycle is of service to the relationship. It is of service to the family. It is of service to the business. You know, it's also very tied into our sexuality, where it's, you know, the female orgasm. This is coming into the second workshop more so, but the female orgasm is designed in her work, like the female's work in her physical, emotional, and spiritual work in orgasm is designed to alchemicalize life. So it's like, you know, they are both together, but if we're going to talk about the menstruating, so, and she goes into regenopause, because when a woman stops bleeding and her body's not producing the capacity to grow life, she now has so much more energy, and she only knows truth. And this is why our culture cannot have women empowered in this time of their life, because we don't put up with bullshit. We see the truth, and we only require truth. So we have created, the system has created menopause, and this starts at the moment that a girl starts bleeding. It's when they start, the issues with menopause starts the moment she starts bleeding. It's how they systematically control our experience to make sure we are not in the space of power. So it's not menopause, it is regenopause. And so every time I speak, anyone that comes in my sphere, I really encourage that we change this, because every time a young girl hears menopause, it's like oh my God, it's regenopause. It's freaking amazing. You know, like, I've walked through the purple tent and I feel like I'm 25 again. And I tell you what, things are so clear. Things are so freaking clear. And we will change the world. Women in regenopause will bring the change in the world that we need to see. That's what that's all about.
amazing. I liked very much what you said earlier because I felt it aligns with something we put out when we created SUUNA community. We said that there is no limit on the amount of abundance a woman can receive, because she's also cascading that down in her family, in her community. And yeah, our second event is about the power of the female orgasm. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
We don't want to
Yes,
share.
I know. I'm very aware of this word a little bit, and I'm very sorry. We always want more. The feminine's always more. The power of the female orgasm, this is another indoctrination of like, this is where the power of woman, her, you know, a part of her power lies, because she is of service to her family, to her relation, and to herself. You know, the Taoists have a really beautiful saying, which is, sex is designed for the female body to feel more. We have physical work, spiritual work, and emotional work to do. It's an epigenetic service. We're doing work for our mother's lineage. You know, our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother, all is being worked through our orgasmic states. So in this workshop, I'll be talking about the 4 different gateways, what they are, what they're designed for. You know, what we started off with is about, you know, we're going for an, you know, this going for an orgasm is like being in kindergarten. It is so basic in the realm of what we're designed for. And it's, of course, it's pushed onto our narrative to make sure that we stay in the tiny corner. But the female bodies, the orgasm in the female body is designed to alchemize her life, you know, her generations, trauma and accolades. It's not just all about trauma. And then creation, an absolute creation. Because a woman who's been fucked well and fucked wide open, she's a force to be reckoned with.
Amen. Which sister? So the last event has the most intriguing name, and also I think it's a topic that should be discussed a lot more between men. We called it "Occupy Your Cock." So, what is this about?
Yes, I know. And even using that language, it can feel like a bit abrasive. But for me, it's also, this workshop is all about men understanding the power and the gift and the freedom that they get to cultivate by understanding how their sexual energy works in their body, their gift to their partner by using their sexual energy through their body. When we're looking at what we currently have, where this going for orgasm, quick ejaculating all the time, men are weakening themselves, they're emasculating themselves, and they're not standing in their freedom. That, you know, they're in escape. And you know, the biggest pot of gold at the end of every rainbow for every man is freedom. And this is what it's about. Occupying your cock energy is about your freedom. It is about, oh God, that word just is about respect, self-respect. No, but it's about really understanding the respective parts of your ascension of your sexual energy and how you then, your power lies in this. Because a man's, you know, in Tantra, they talk about when you cultivate your sexual energy, you're able to handle no matter what the feminine throws at you. And when we understand what true feminine energy is, which is chaos, the busyness of life, you know, having to deal with in the world, that's also feminine energy. It's not just your woman. So the power of a man in his stillness, in his silence, in his groundedness is his true freedom. And that's what occupying your cock is. It's not about just always having hold of it and being, it's like raising this energy up into your core, which is so sexy. It is the most gorgeous gift you could ever give your woman.
I fully resonate with that. My let's say record for this would be 81 days of not ejaculating.
Mm.
And it was amazing. I mean, the clarity I had after that,
Yeah.
and the I don't know, the ease that my mind was going in many places was really amazing. It's like being on superfoods all the time and taking
Yeah.
really good care of how my energy works.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing can I just say, and this will come in the workshop too, and everyone has different thing. For me, it's like, you know, not ejaculating is not about not having pleasure, not having power. It's not this abstinence thing of like, I can't touch myself. It's about really cultivating how you build that energy and keep on raising it up. But that'll be more in the workshop, you know, the difference in that. But yeah, it's not a shame thing. And thank you so much for giving your story, because there is also this part in many narratives is the shame of like, you know, not masturbating, not having pleasure, so you don't ejaculate. But it's not that at all. It's bridging the gap and just,
yeah,
you can have it all, baby. You can have it all is what we're here for.
big ejaculations from time to time.
Oh, it's
Uh,
the most exquisite gift. It's the most
yeah.
exquisite gift. Mhm.
And just to bridge it all together, we thought that this event, this series of events is beautiful to be experienced together as a couple,
Yeah.
but also it's great for men and it's great for women. All three of them will bring a lot
Yes.
of knowledge and understanding on how we operate in this world. So
Well,
um,
especially in relationship, sorry to cut you off there, but in relationship, it's not this separation. And even if you are single, especially for men, is understanding the female body. If you want to be in a heterosexual relationship, to understand it, you wouldn't drive a car if you didn't know how to change the gears or where the brake pedal was. Like, it's like with everything else, we understand the mechanism we're about to go into. So this is the power of it as well. It's, why we made it co-ed, to make sure, single men can come into all of the workshops, single women can come into all of the workshops. When I work with my clients with just men, these are all the topics we talk about. When I work with just women, these are all the topics we talk about. So yes, it is for everyone because we're all together in the world, I should say.
I'm really looking forward to this series, and I hope to see as many of our community members and also men, because we are
Mm,
opening the community to men as well.
yes, come in and play.
Yeah, I need some brothers.
Yes. Mm.
Um, thank you very much.
Yeah, so my pleasure. I'm really excited. It's so my jam. And I can't wait to see what happens and how it all unfolds.